You know that feeling when everything in your life seems to be going perfectly, and then, bam, the universe decides to throw a curveball right at your face? Yeah, that was me last semester. I was breezing through my junior year of college, acing my courses, and was in what I thought was the perfect relationship with Mark, the charming guy from my economics class. Life was good, until it wasn't. It all started on a typical Thursday afternoon. I was lounging in the campus coffee shop, sipping my caramel latte while pretending to read a textbook. In reality, I was scrolling through Instagram, double-tapping pictures of cute dogs and motivational quotes. That's when I got a notification, a message from a girl named Lisa. I didn't know any Lisas, so naturally curiosity got the better of me. "Hey, I think we need to talk about Mark," the message read. My heart skipped a beat. Was she one of his group project partners? Maybe she needed help reaching him. "Hi, what's up?" I typed back, trying to keep it casual. Her reply was immediate and came with a screenshot, a picture of her and Mark, looking entirely too cozy at what appeared to be a party. "He's been seeing me for the past 2 months. I just found out about you." I stared at the screen, my mind doing that thing where it tries to reject all incoming information that doesn't fit into the happy narrative you've constructed for yourself. 2 months? That couldn't be right. Mark and I had just celebrated our 6-month anniversary last week. "Are you sure it's the same Mark?" I asked, grasping at straws. "Mark Thompson, econ major, drives a red Honda, has a dimple on his left cheek when he smirks," she listed. Well, damn. That was my marker, apparently, our Mark. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the whirlwind of emotions brewing inside me. Anger, betrayal, hurt all swirling together in a concoction that threatened to spill over. But then, amidst the chaos, a strange sense of calm washed over me. If Mark thought he could play me like this, he had another thing coming. "Thanks for letting me know, Lisa. I think it's time we both teach Mark a little lesson," I typed, a sly grin spreading across my face. Over the next few days, I put my plan into action. First, I needed more intel. I reached out to a few acquaintances, and with some subtle probing, discovered that Lisa wasn't the only other girl Mark had been seeing. There was also Sarah from his gym, and Emily from his study group. Classic Mark never could resist a cliché. Instead of confronting him directly, which, let's be honest, would be too easy, I decided to hit him where it would hurt the most: his ego. I arranged a meeting with Lisa, Sarah, and Emily at a local cafe. It was awkward at first, after all. How often do you sit across from your boyfriend's other girlfriends? But soon, we bonded over our shared experience of being duped by the same two-timing jerk. "He's been telling me he's swamped with assignments," Emily said, rolling her eyes. "I guess assignments is code for other girlfriends." "Tell me about it," Sarah chimed in. "He cancelled our date night last week, claiming he was sick. I saw him tagged in a photo at a concert the next day." We all exchanged knowing looks. It was clear Mark had been playing us all, and it was time to turn the tables. "All right, ladies," I began, leaning in conspiratorially. "Here's the plan." We decided to give Mark a taste of his own medicine public humiliation, with a side of poetic justice. The college was hosting its annual talent show in 2 weeks, a big event that everyone attended. Mark, ever the spotlight seeker, had signed up to perform a solo guitar piece. Perfect. I pulled some strings with the event coordinator, a friend of mine from the debate club. We arranged for a special segment right after Mark's performance. The night of the talent show arrived, and the auditorium was packed. Mark took the stage, flashing his signature smirk dimple and all, as he strummed his guitar, serenading the crowd with a cheesy love song. I watched from the wings, a mixture of nerves and excitement bubbling inside me. As his performance concluded to enthusiastic applause, the MC returned to the stage. "Thank you, Mark, for that heartfelt performance. And now, we have a surprise presentation from a group of students who'd like to share something special." That was our cue. Lisa, Sarah, Emily, and I walked onto the stage, each holding a microphone. The audience murmured in confusion, and I caught a glimpse of Mark's puzzled expression from the side. "Good evening, everyone," I began, my voice steady. "We're here to tell you a little story about a guy who thought he could juggle more than just guitar chords." The crowd chuckled, intrigued. "Meet Mark Thompson," Lisa said, pointing dramatically toward him. "Economics major, part-time Casanova." "Mark told me I was the only one," Sarah added, feigning innocence. "He told me he was working extra shifts to save up for our anniversary," Emily said, placing a hand over her heart. "And he told me," I continued, "that he'd never felt this way about anyone before." The audience began to catch on, gasps and whispers spreading like wildfire. Mark's face turned a delightful shade of crimson. "But tonight," I said, stepping forward, "we want to thank Mark for bringing us all together, because if it weren't for his philandering ways, we wouldn't have become such good friends." We turned to face him, synchronizing our next move. "So, here's to you, Mark," we said in unison, blowing him a collective kiss. The auditorium erupted in laughter and applause. Mark stood there, speechless, as the spotlight shone brightly on his mortified face. But we weren't done yet. "One more thing," I said, holding up a small USB drive. "Mark, remember all those love songs you sent me, and the, let's call them personal photos?" His eyes widened in horror. "Don't worry," I assured him with a wink. "I'm not that cruel. But I think the dean might be interested to know how you've been using university resources to express yourself." Of course, I had no intention of sharing his private photos. That would be crossing a line, but he didn't know that. After the show, Mark tried to corner me backstage. "What the hell was that?" he spluttered. "Oh, just a little performance art," I replied sweetly. "I thought you'd appreciate it." "You've ruined me!" I raised an eyebrow. "Ruined you? Mark, you did that all by yourself." He opened his mouth to retort, but was interrupted by a tap on his shoulder. It was the dean, looking none too pleased. "Mark Thompson, I believe we need to have a conversation about some inappropriate use of university equipment," he said sternly. Mark shot me a panicked look. "You didn't—" I merely smiled as he was led away. In reality, I hadn't given the dean anything incriminating, just a few emails Mark had sent during class time, which technically violated the university's policy on personal use of school property. It was enough to get him a slap on the wrist and, more importantly, keep him busy worrying for a while. Over the next few days, word of the talent show incident spread like wildfire. Mark became the laughingstock of the campus. Everywhere he went, people whispered and snickered. His reputation was in tatters, and his inflated ego had deflated faster than a balloon with a pinprick. But I wasn't quite done. I decided to take it a step further by hitting him academically. Mark had always bragged about his impeccable study methods and top grades. What most people didn't know was that he had a little help in that department me. You see, I had been tutoring him in economics since we started dating. He struggled with the concepts, and I, being the generous girlfriend, spent hours helping him grasp supply and demand curves. So, for the upcoming midterm, I prepared a special set of study notes just for him. I handed him the notebook the day before the exam. "Thought you might need a refresher," I said innocently. "Thanks," he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. The next week, grades were posted, and Mark was fuming. He'd failed miserably, while I, and amusingly, Lisa, who was also in the class, had aced the test. He confronted me outside the lecture hall. "You gave me the wrong notes." I feigned surprise. "Did I? Oh dear, must have mixed them up with my experimental economic theories on market failures." "You did this on purpose." I shrugged. "Maybe if you spent less time juggling girlfriends and more time studying, you wouldn't need my notes." He glared at me, but there was nothing he could do. Cheating off someone's notes was his own risk. As the semester progressed, Mark's life continued to unravel. His GPA plummeted, his social circle shrank, and even his trusty red Honda got towed due to unpaid parking tickets that, unbeknownst to him, I'd helped accumulate by removing them from his windshield before he saw them. One day, as I was walking across the quad, I saw him sitting alone on a bench, looking utterly defeated. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. "Hey," I said, approaching him. He looked up, eyes filled with a mixture of anger and desperation. "What do you want? Haven't you done enough?" I sat down beside him. "You know, Mark, I didn't set out to ruin your life. You did that all on your own." He scoffed. "Easy for you to say. Everyone thinks you're some kind of hero." I smiled. "Not a hero, just someone who doesn't like being played for a fool." He was silent for a moment. "I guess I deserved it," he admitted quietly. I stood up. "Maybe this is a chance for you to start fresh. Be a better person." He looked at me with a hint of gratitude. Perhaps. As I walked away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. This chapter was finally closing, and I was ready to move on. A few weeks later, the semester was coming to an end, and the campus was abuzz with end-of-year parties and graduation plans. I was in the library, returning a stack of books, when I bumped into Lisa. "Hey, long time no see," she greeted me warmly. "Hi, how's everything?" "Great, actually. I've been seeing someone new," she said with a wink. "That's awesome." "Yeah, and guess what? Sarah and Emily are coming over tonight for a girls' night. You should join us." I hesitated for a moment. You know what? That sounds perfect. That evening, we gathered at Lisa's apartment, munching on popcorn and sharing stories. The topic inevitably shifted to Mark. "Did you hear he's transferring schools?" Emily mentioned. "Really?" I asked, surprised. "Yeah, couldn't handle the heat here, I guess," Sarah added. I took a sip of my wine. Well, maybe a change of scenery will do him good. Lisa raised her glass. "Here's to new beginnings and dodging bullets." We all laughed and clinked our glasses. As the night wore on, I realized that out of a messy situation, something beautiful had emerged. I'd gained new friends and learned valuable lessons about trust, self-worth, and the sweet taste of well-executed revenge. Sure, some might say I went too far, but sometimes karma needs a little nudge. And as for Mark, well, let's just say he won't be forgetting this lesson anytime soon. The following semester, life returned to its delightful normalcy. I focused on my studies, picked up a new hobby in photography, and even started dating again. A nice guy from my literature class who actually knew how to treat a girl right. One afternoon, I received a letter in my campus mailbox. It was from Mark. "Dear Anna, I wanted to reach out and apologize for everything. You were right. I needed to change. I'm at a new school now, and I'm working on being a better person. I hope someday you can forgive me. Sincerely, Mark." I folded the letter thoughtfully. Forgiveness is a tricky thing, but perhaps acknowledging his mistakes was a step in the right direction for him. That evening, I sat at my desk and penned a brief reply. "Mark, apology accepted. I hope you find what you're looking for. Best, Anna." I sealed the envelope and dropped it in the mail the next day. As I walked away from the mailbox, I felt a sense of closure wash over me. Life is funny sometimes. It throws you curveballs, but it's how you handle them that defines who you are. I chose to handle mine with a dash of wit, a sprinkle of vengeance, and a whole lot of style. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way.